And because we come from the back and we won it, and I didn't expect it.
Yeah.
I just kind of didn't know what the hell was going on.
Yeah. So Jarod, man, thanks for meeting me on race day.
Oh, good, mate.
So, yeah, obviously you've gone pretty far out there in what you've built for mod sedans.
Yeah, it's a bit different, but that's what I enjoy. That's why I built the Mercedes when I started racing, just because it was different. I enjoy the challenge, the engineering challenge.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much why we did it. There's a bit of a story behind it, but we'll get to it later.
So how did you even start racing? Like, what did you first race?
First, would have been in the 90s. I started racing go-karts when I was 7. So I was racing karts against like Jamie Wing Cup back in the day, and I kind of raced till I was about 12 or 13 in the juniors. Then I started racing, my dad was racing, it was A-modifieds back in the day, which evolved into modified sedans. So Dad was racing A-modifieds, and I'd raced his car in ASCF juniors. So I started racing his Falcon back when I was 12. Started racing it when I was 12, all the way up to 16. And I raced mini sprints for a couple of years.
Yeah.
Then I kind of went out of racing for a while.
So what do you mean by mini sprints? What do they equate to?
So they were Victorian class.
Yeah.
So they were just like a compact speed car with a wing, pretty much.
Yeah.
I don't know what the class is now, but
is that like a lightning sprint kind of thing?
Yeah, just with a 4-cylinder.
Yeah.
Probably a little bit smaller.
Yeah. So there is some open wheel to experience there.
Oh, a little bit, yeah. But when I turned 18, I moved to Melbourne. Got an apprenticeship at Qantas doing aircraft maintenance, so my racing stopped.
Yeah, right.
Then that stage, Cam started racing karts, because there's 11 years between myself and Cameron.
Yeah, right.
So he started racing karts, then I did 5 years in Melbourne, had enough of that, moved home, then spent a lot of time with Cam racing, taking him away go-kart racing. So I kind of did a bit of karting on and off, a little bit of club level kart and a few open meetings, but pretty much spent a lot of time with Cam, just concentrating on his karting career.
Yeah, right. So working on aircrafts is like full attention to detail, isn't it?
Oh yeah,
you can see that in this, like in the quality that you've done, even here as well.
They kind of help, like learning the skills, aircraft maintenance skills, kind of helped with karting, and like even when we went to the Formula V, Formula Ford. Because like the race teams, like the attention to detail in like the supercar teams is just unbelievable. So a lot of the skills I learnt on aircraft carried over and the speedway. It's been good.
It's all sort of engineering, isn't it?
I love all that stuff.
Yeah. So then how long till you got back in a car?
I was racing karts a little bit as a senior, then I got back into racing. We brought a Porsche 944 Turbo out of Japan, and just as a track car. Cam was racing, I think he was racing Formula Ford by then. So we got this 944 Turbo, just have a bit of fun in it, just evolved and just turned into a monster. Like ended up with over 500 horsepower and full aero on it, and I was racing the sports cars on a few meetings, like Mallar and Sandown and Winton. But the problem is you have to travel so far, because Mildura's in the middle of nowhere. We don't have a circuit racing track here, and the mods were pretty strong here in Mildura. And Cam was running Trav Shaw's modified and won the Aussie title. And what really got me the bug getting back into Speedway was watching the modified national title at Kingaroy and watching all these guys and how good the racing was. And I had this bit of an idea of getting back into Speedway, and that kind of got me the bug again. So
it's definitely going to be modified.
Yeah.
It's definitely going to be a modified.
Yeah.
Obviously, with the family history there as well.
We've been in modifieds since the 90s, pretty much. Yeah, Dad racing and Cam winning an Aussie title, and so I might give this a crack.
You must be surely the only brothers that have both won a title, then? Would there be any
modifieds? Yeah. Yeah, I think so. Dad was pretty close. He got third 1 year.
Yeah. But there'd be no brothers that have done a title each, though, would there?
I don't know. You'd
have to check the check the books on it or something like that.
I don't think so.
I can't really think of any brothers that race modified sedans the way that you guys have.
Shane and Nathan McDonald in Queensland.
Yeah, true. Yeah. So then you jumped straight back into this? Or you had a Falcon before, didn't you?
As I was building this, it took probably 2 years to build this up. Friend Ray Blytho gave me a steer in his Falcon because it was just sitting in his shed. He wanted to sell it, so I brought it in. We tied it up a bit for him and give it a run for a few meetings just to get the toe in the water again.
Hook straight away.
Yeah.
You knew.
Yeah.
So how'd you pick this? Like, how did you land on this?
I just wanted to build something different, and I actually went on. You'll have a laugh, but I went on car sales just to find the best car that fit the category. So we had to have pretty much a four-seat sedan. Doesn't matter if it was 2 or 4 doors, 6-cylinder, rear-wheel drive car, obviously a bit better. So I went on car sales and just went through all the makes and cars I could find, and pretty much had a look at the power to weight ratio of everything I could find, and the Mercedes C350 come up pretty much on top. It didn't have the most power, but it was a lot lighter than a Falcon. So on paper it worked. So I ended up going on Mannheim auctions and Pickles auctions and just trying to find a Rex C350, and we actually found a couple. So I jumped on them, brought them both, and picked all the bits out that we wanted. And
so you knew it was going to be a coupe from that point?
I think the 2-door was the better option because you could get the roll cage back. Being such a big door, you could move the roll cage back a bit, driver's seats further back, and it just kind of worked a bit better for us.
Yeah, right. Yeah, because you're quite tall yourself.
Yeah.
So
the rest is history. It was a bit of an engineering task because you can't buy anything off the shelf. At least with the Falcons and Commodores, there's a lot of parts you can buy off the shelf for them now. So there's still you're still got to build a lot in this class, no matter what you're doing, though, don't you? There's still not a hell of a lot of stuff off the shelf just in general for like anything really, is there? Like Falcons, like the Falcons especially, you can buy suspension arms off the shelf. And, like guys are making like speedway components for them. I think Pro One and Kenco make a bit of gear for them. So, but with a Merc, you're on your own.
So a lot of figuring out on your own sort of thing. There's no one to ring and say, hey, what have you done?
No, we just had to work it out for ourselves. We put a 9-inch diff centre in it. Like getting a 9-inch diff centre to work in a Mercedes IRS rear suspension was fun, but we got it to work. The car never come out with with a manual transmission either, so we pretty much got the auto out of the wreck, had to chop the bell housing off it, and like pretty much wreck an auto to made up a manual gearbox. And put a clutch in it.
So what sort of gearbox are you running in it?
It's a T10, the old T10. I think they're a GM box.
So
modified a bit, but
a lot of figuring out.
That's it. But that's the part of the fun. Like that's what I enjoyed about the build.
Any major struggles like building it?
Oh, not really. It's just all those little things to figure out as you're going along. The first year we ran with pretty much a stock engine. It was out of one of the wrecks we brought. We pretty much didn't touch the engine. We just put the Motec on it, put LS coils on it, stuck it in the car, and I think the first year we've done a few lap records, track records at like Ballarat and Mildura with the stock engine.
What sort of power was like that putting out?
I'm not telling you. I'm not giving you away. Me serious. No. They're doing about 200 and... the stock was about 210, 215 kilowatts wheels, which is down a little bit on the Falcon, but we're up a little bit now. We're probably on par with the Falcon engines now, I hope.
Isn't it crazy what cars are making from the factory now? Like, it's just unreal, isn't it?
Compared to like 20 years ago. Even my Ute, my Ute's making more power than what any road car I've ever had.
Like, I spent a shitload of money on a 5-litre and had it dynoed, and it made like 97 kilowatts. And it was like, I spent a lot of money on it, and it was like, it's like, and then obviously, LS stuff just dominates now. But Yeah, even just like what some of the like little hatches and stuff are making now. It's just it's
crazy.
unreal. Like, everything's come so far, eh?
Yeah.
Especially German stuff. Germany seems to be they're so far ahead on like nearly everything.
Even the body, just how nicely the car was made.
Yeah. Feel bad cutting it up.
Yeah.
So what year is this Mercedes?
2014.
Yeah, right.
So the engine's a 3.5 litre direct injected V6. So they run about 2,500 psi fuel pressure, pound fuel pressure.
Yeah, right.
They're like almost like a direct injected diesel.
Yeah, right.
It's on petrol. So they make good power stock. So we, even with this engine in the car now, all we've done is put pistons and rods in it and a bit of a head port, and that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, because you obviously, like, that's, you know, for people who don't understand, that's, you guys are a lot freer in the sense compared to a street stock in that you're a lot more open to do that sort of stuff.
We can't stroke the engines, but bore size, we can't go above 4.5 litre. But you can pretty much, I think, do what you want to the engine. We just got to retain the original intake manifold and throttle body.
Yeah.
So that's what's good with the category. So you see so many classes, or not classes, cars through the country, and people have got their own interpretation, like how they build the car and just different engineering. It's good to see a lot of the cars.
Yeah, I love it. That's one of my favourite things about it. There's like a real mixed bag of stuff out there.
So many different cars. Like when we went to the Aussie title in Albany, like the guy running the RX-8 over there, man, that was a nice little car.
Yeah. There's that Lexus getting around now as well.
Yeah, Leicester in Queensland's got the Lexus going.
And then you got things like, obviously, Graham West has got his famous LJ. Like,
he won last night
did he?
Yeah,
right.
Avalon, yeah.
So, you know, stuff like that, still mixing it up with something like this. Like, it's guys who know about it and are into sedans, they realise what it is, but it's like the guys who are more into the open wheel stuff, they don't sort of know how good this class is. Like,
you see, well, that's what got me into the class. Watching the racing at Kingaroy, even Cam, just watching Cam, like, and how close the racing is, and like they're running 3 and 4 wide, just lap after lap. And like, I think I watched the Aussie title at Albany. I reckon I've watched that about 100 times already. But just watching the cars through the field, they're running 4 wide, like just lap after lap. Like the racing's probably the best speedway racing in the country, I think. Yeah.
Great bunch of guys too, and it's not like there's not that, like, you go to like a sprint car meeting, there's a bit of pressure around everyone, like, you know, there's a lot of money involved, whereas everyone in like the mod sedans, like,
it's pretty laid back.
Yeah, it's pretty laid back. They'll have a beer after, or someone's got a barbecue running or something like that. Like it's a bit more like that. The pressure's not there, but like different story once you get on track. But
it's like everything. But and like we've made a lot of friends over the years through Speedway and the mods, and like we go up to Queens. Like when I do get to Queensland, like the guys up there are great, and
you'll sort of share that around. It's probably one of the things that like the average punter on the hill wouldn't know, that like, you know, they might see you on track with someone and be like, oh, they're like, you know, they hate each other, but they probably don't know that you're crashing at that bloke's house and he crashes here when you, like when they come down and stuff, like, there's all that sort of stuff that goes on too.
If you ever need a hand in the pits, like the guys are there, like, they'll go give the other guys a hand to get their car sorted. And we're up in Queensland at Kingaroy a few years ago, and we split a fuel tank on the truck.
Yeah, right.
And Tangles give us a hand. Like, he was the first one there. Like, he had the welder and helped us patch it up. And then went over. He had the the Webbers going, and we went over for brisket, but he rolls later on that night. But everyone gets together. That's what's good about the category. Yeah.
Just lift that up now. I can see that falling. There's one of them that does it every week.
Going down on me.
I need to get it engineered. So once you actually got this built and on track, like, many teething problems with it?
Oh, it's mainly, I think the biggest struggle we had was just setup and spring rates and shocks and where to start. Like,
and then once again, you're totally on your own with all that.
We had the car way out of the ball, like way out of the window to start. We was quick still. Like, we were still winning race meetings, but it was a bit of a handful to drive initially. And like as the years gone on and done more and more race meetings, we've gone a different way with the setup. And I think like last year we just nailed it. Like we do have our struggles at certain race meetings we've set up. We went to Warrnambool this year and went out the gate and like the thing was just a pig to drive in the first heat. But that's just me not setting the car up right. But I think we've got it pretty good now.
Do you think you're like a lot freer than like what the other like Falcons and Commodores are doing, or you'd be a lot more tighter with the size of this?
It's probably much of a muchness really. Just how you set the car up, and like some guys have got those Falcons hooked up pretty well.
Yeah.
I just think it's just set up on the night, really, with any class.
Yeah, and the way the track's gone and stuff
I think we're in the window now. We know what works and what doesn't work, so we can go to a track and kind of get it half right to start with.
Yeah. So you've obviously already a lot of notes on the car. And,
heaps.
Yeah. Is that the way you're orientated as a racer?
I write everything down. We'll do a setup sheet every time. We've just scaled it now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kind of change it a little bit.
That's one thing I always try and I've talked a lot about it on the podcast and sort of judge as as a racer and stuff like that too. Like a lot of races are very a lot of people think, they're just like a dirt racer, but it's like a lot of these guys in Speedway are very, very smart guys. And I'm assuming you are from what you've done in aviation as well.
Yeah.
So it's like, that's sort of pardon the pun, but tickles your brain, is all that sort of
and we document most things and got setup sheets and stuff to go back on. We'll get lost. We'll go change stuff on this and just get lost with setup and go back through the sheets and we'll learn where we should be. Yeah. Put it back and away we go again.
So that's, you love all that sort of stuff, Yeah.
And we early on in the piece with the car, we probably over-engineered it a bit. Went too radical with setup and too complicated with shocks. We tried twin springs in the right front. I think we just engineered ourselves out of the ballpark and went backwards.
Yeah, right.
And then we just pulled back and went back to basics and got the car quick again.
Yeah, right.
There's still some pretty trick stuff in it, but
yeah, there's a lot of trick stuff in late models and stuff like that too. It's way out of my depth.
The back ends and those things with a fifth arm and man, you got to be a rocket scientist.
I didn't even know. I seen a video the other day of a diff of one. Someone put a GoPro on it. There's a shock on the centre of the diff. Yeah. So I was like, I don't know. I wouldn't even know where to start.
And
I'm sure there's some sort of adjustment in there that you'd feel and it's just that's.
Yeah, the rear suspension on those things is something else.
Yeah. It's very weird that, I don't know, America's probably very much the same too, but in Australia, sedan guys are sedan guys and, open wheel guys are open wheel. There's no sort of crossing over or anything like that, is there?
Some of the drivers do. Larson, drives everything.
Yeah.
Even Cam,
he's a freak though. We can't put him in any category.
Yeah, even my brother, he'll drive anything as well. From modified sprint cars. We ran a late model ourselves for a few years. Yeah. But I don't know if I had the chance, I'd drive anything as well.
Yeah. Have you wanted to drive a sprint car or anything, or?
I wouldn't. I'd have a drive, but it doesn't really interest me. I like watching them, but I'd probably rather be in a late model or something, or a super sedan. Yeah. Love to have a steer of a super.
Yeah. Yeah, supers are cool. They're very
especially now. I reckon the numbers are growing a bit on the supers. They come back a bit.
Yeah. I love them. I think they're great. The only thing I don't like about them, and I've said it heaps of times, is they all look the same. I wish they went back to the way they were in the 90s and they had different bodies and stuff like that.
Don't. That's a touchy subject.
Well, especially for you guys, eh?
Supers would be the second best category in Australia apart from modifieds now, I reckon.
Oh, jeez. And everyone
opened a can of worms.
Everyone just turned off. Yep. No, it's what you're into and stuff like that. Yeah. Well, for me, it's speed cars. So
yeah,
I love speed cars. Are sick. I love them. It's just the numbers just aren't as great as they sort of once were, and it's just everything's getting expensive though. It's doesn't matter what you're doing. It's just crazy. I spent a lot of time with the wingless guys, and you look at how far they've came in the last sort of probably 5 to 6 years.
Surge in that category now,
and the quality of some of those cars too is immense compared to what it was back in the day, sort of thing. So even with these mod sedans, you look at the build quality on some of this stuff now.
Oh yeah, it's nice.
They're fully 100% engineered race car. They're not.
Yeah, just looking at them on the track, they look like road cars. Like,
Yeah.
Some of the cars just pristine.
Yeah. Yeah. And like everyone's come so far in like vinyl wraps and all that sort of stuff too. Like that's progressed a lot of classes as well.
It was pretty cool. I watched T-Bar a couple of weeks ago, and they had the Aidan Raymond had the Cold Trickle tribute car, and they look good.
Everyone loves that.
Yeah,
it's such an iconic movie. I think I've watched that like 1,000 times.
Yeah, I reckon. Yeah, still watch it.
Everyone wants to be Cold Trickle. There's no one who's like into racing. Who just like hasn't like lived out the fantasy in their head that they're Cold Trickle.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So do you think you're, like, in the development of the car, are you, like, sort of nearing the end of it? Or
hell no. No, I still tinker around with it all the time. Like, we're always chasing stuff. Like, I'm in the process of building a set of headers. I was talking to my engine builder, and we're just talking about different header setups. And so you used to work for Larry Perkins back in the day, and they had a totally different way they set their headers up. So he said, why don't you try this? Oh yeah, why not? So in the shed I got all this stainless pipe, and we're just going to try a set of headers. We might make a couple of horsepower, but I think it's more just time in the shed, just tinkering away and just...
This thing already sounds killer though, eh?
Oh yeah, these will sound totally different again. So that's half the fun, just seeing what it sounds like, and I can make a few extra horsepower on the dyno, why not?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
What does it rev to?
We're spinning to about 8,000 now.
Yeah, right. Yeah. What are the Falcons? Are the Falcons doing that? Or?
About 7, bit over 7, I think. I know, it just keeps blowing, like it just loves revving.
Is that its like limit, or is it like that's where you've got
the
it?
The limit's where we set the left rev limit. Yeah, we've got it set at about 8.2, and sometimes we hit that.
Yeah, right.
Bounce off it a few times, but
yeah, that's the one thing I've like seen on track with it. It just pulls, doesn't it? Like it's not, doesn't get to the end of the straight, and it's like giving up.
Biggest struggle with us was just getting it to hook up, and like it's got good power and a good power to weight, but just getting the handling. Like if we can get it to handle and get it to come out of the corners, there's not much that can go near it once it gets hooked up down the straight.
Have you had it where it feels like a handful to drive? Like it's
heaps.
Yeah.
Warnable this season. Early on in the day, we had a lot of problems with understeer. Just had so much drive, and just getting it to turn was the biggest struggle.
Yeah,
and I think we messed around with spring rates and shocks a fair bit, so it's a lot better now, but it's pretty good to drive now.
So you're more than comfortable in it?
Yeah, when it's good to drive, it's fast.
Yeah. And then that's when you've got like your confidence up and yeah.
It's funny at Albany, the Aussie title last year. Like we went out in hot practice on the Friday night, and first session, I think I put the quickest time down. I've never been in the track before. Now I think we did 2 practice sessions, put quick time down, or quickest in practice. Then it rained, just didn't stop raining. And then we got to the track Saturday. It was still raining on the Saturday morning, and then they're still pouring water in the track. It's like, never seen anything like it. So we went out in the heats, and I just couldn't get the thing to hook up.
Yeah, right.
Oh, terrible. Like, we're ready to go, just pull the pin and just go to the pub for the rest of the weekend. But like, we're just lost on the Saturday. I think we were like 26th in points. I was about mid-pack. I think we were lucky to make the A main at that stage, and like we just put our heads together, had a late night Macca's run, and just sat around the table and pretty much put a plan together for the setup. And next morning we just turned the car inside out, changed every spring on the car, I think, changed ride heights, shocks, everything, and went out. It was a lot better in the next heat. Then in the final we started 15th and come through and won it. But like, that's probably the best the car's ever felt to drive. Like, it was so easy to drive.
Yeah.
And when they're easy to drive, you're generally quick.
Yeah, and then you get to lap traffic, you know where you can put it and not put
it.
And,
you can just drive it anywhere. And
yeah, right.
Yeah.
And what do you like with your like your race smarts? You like
a lot smarter now.
Yeah.
I've had my moments and learned from a few mishaps, but you just got to be. I found just be patient.
Yeah.
Like, even if you have a few shit like heat races, like, biggest thing for me was just calming down and just wait wait for it. Just wait for the car to come to you. And
yeah. Because, like, in my mind, like, Speedway is probably one of the last forms of motorsport where, like, the guy can come from the back and win it. Yeah. It's like, you're not really going to see that in too many other forms of motorsport.
Circuit racing, not these days.
Those days are sort of long gone. Like, maybe something like NASCAR, because it's such a long race and so much goes on. But, yeah, it's like, Speedway is probably the last great form to be able to do that sort of stuff. So, yeah.
Sometimes you just got to calm down, don't be a hothead, and...
Which is probably a hard thing as a racer, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's probably the best thing I learned. I've done some pretty dumb shit in the last few years in the car, and just not being patient and trying to win a heat race from the back, and sometimes you just got to wait and...
Yeah. Patience is a weird thing as a racer, isn't it?
And sometimes, if you're patient and calm down, you drive a lot quicker.
Yeah.
That's what I found, especially with this thing.
So how much are you thinking when you're out on track? Like, does racing come naturally to you?
Yeah, I think so. Like, it's funny, like, we've done the 40 laps at Albany, and physically I was good, but I come out of the car and, like, you're such on a adrenaline rush when you're in the car. When you stop and when you get out, I think you're more mentally drained.
Yeah.
Like, you're thinking so hard for so long, concentrating. Yeah, I was kind of wrecked.
Yeah.
And because we come from the back and, like, we won it, and I didn't expect it.
Yeah.
I just kind of didn't know what the hell was going on.
Yeah.
Like,
so, like, when I'm saying, like, you're thinking, like, are you hitting your markers and, like, turning in, or, like...
Well, you're always thinking, yeah.
Or is it just, like, it's just happening?
It just happens without you thinking, like...
Yeah.
It's where they're good racers, like, they're thinking all the time, but it just...
Just happens to them, eh?
Yeah.
I see it all the time in, like... I'm a massive believer in people are either a natural racer or they're not.
Yeah.
And, like, I see it all the time across, like, different types of racing. You'll see someone, like, they'll just move the car and hit the mark and make the pass, and then you'll see someone else sort of think about it. And by the time they think about it and do the move, it's, like, too late. All over. It's like,
You just got to... You got to be confident in the car, though, knowing you can drive it anywhere and it's going to do what you want it to do. But you got to read the track all the time too, like if there's a rut somewhere or a groove, or if you can run the high line. And
it's an evolving thing with us over the night,
the track's always changing.
Yeah, and then even like evolves over a feature as well. So
that's it. Yeah.
I never raced, so I still struggle to, like, look at a track and know exactly what's going on. And then you talk to someone and they'll say X, and then the next person says that it's actually B, and it's like...
It's a hard thing with setup too. Like, you got to read the track. You'll try and predict what the track's going to do before you go out and make changes to the car.
Yeah, and what classes are running in between, like that, and all that sort of stuff. Yeah. That's part of the thing I love about it, though. Like,
it's always changing, and that's part of the fun, I guess.
So obviously you've got, like, you spent a lot of time with bitumen guys too. So have you tried to convert anyone or explain all this sort of stuff? And
well, I guess over the years, like when Cam got out of karting, we brought a Formula V. And that's how I've kind of learned a lot through circuit racing. Like, we pulled the cars apart, and even Cam spent a lot of time on the tools. Like, we'd strip down the cars, rebuild them. Then we got a Formula Ford, strip that down when we got it, and rebuild it and spec it up to the latest spec. And even just picking up certain engineering things, what you see on circuit racing cars, and I've implemented on this thing too. So even like the shock absorbers I run on this are circuit racing shocks.
Yeah, right.
They're not it would have been good to run Integras or Genesis or something, but we just couldn't fit them in the front.
Yeah,
Peter McPherson strut, so I had to look elsewhere. But even I got on, like, my contacts in circuit race, and like Adam DeBore supplied me the shocks in this thing, and he's Chaz Mostert's supercar engineer.
Yeah, right.
I've known him for long time, but it's just a lot of people said it wouldn't work, and I was going to make it work. So
I love hearing about, like, how, like, supercar guys dabble in a bit of speedway stuff. Like,
they love it too.
Yeah. I hate supercars. It's so like, and, like, it does nothing for me, eh?
Yeah, like, especially last year wasn't ideal.
Yeah.
Hopefully the racing's a bit better this year, but
I still won't be watching, so it's just speedway for me. It's just, I don't know why. It's just, I wouldn't say like it doesn't matter what's racing, but it's just,
it's like, totally different. It's almost like footy to cricket.
Yeah,
that's about it. It's just two totally different sports. Especially sprint cars, like they're like nothing else. Like they're totally different to sedans. Like you jump in a modified sedan and jump in the sprint car, they're just totally different animals. Like, you can't compare the two at all. Apart from they've got a sprint steering wheel and an engine.
Yeah,
they just drive totally different.
Yeah, sprint cars are pretty like wild beasts, aren't
they? Yeah.
I try and convert heaps of people who are like circuit racing, like diehards, and they just cannot fathom like going to speedway. I
know a lot of circuit racing guys. They love it. Like they go to the skids on a Saturday night and check it out, and they into it pretty heavy. So
this is like regardless of budget or whatever, this is what you'd be doing over racing V8 supercars or something.
Regardless of budget, I don't know. I don't know. I'd like to get back into circuit racing and have another go, but it's the cost as well. Like,
yeah.
What do you do? Spend twice or 3 times as much money as what I would tip into this.
Yeah.
Then I've got to travel, and the best thing with speedway racing, like tonight, we're going to rock up the track about 4 o'clock, race, and it's all over by 11. You're home.
Yeah.
Like it's all over. Like circuit racing, you got to turn up the track Friday, race Saturday and Sunday, and you're wrecked by the time you get home Monday.
Yeah. The only thing that sort of tickled my thoughts in circuit racing is building something just for not hot laps, but just track session days or something like that. Like something that you're not racing anyone, you're just sort of competing against yourself kind of thing. You build.
Yeah, tried that with a Porsche and it just turned into an animal.
Yeah, you see that so many times. Yeah, that's probably World Time Attack's so popular, eh?
Yeah,
that's a huge event. That's just unreal. That event, that's just gone from strength to strength. But
but that's a good thing about speedway. It's all over, and 4-hour race meeting. There's so much packed into that one meeting.
Yeah,
and it's all over. So
yeah, I love it.
Yeah, it's good.
So obviously tonight, home track.
Yeah, it's a SA modified sedan series. So we've got about 19 cars, I think, coming tonight.
Bit more pressure on yourself, or
a little bit. We got a lot of good drivers in Mildura. There's a lot of quick cars.
Yeah.
There's not as many as we should have. There's a few cars sitting in garages at the moment, but
that's every category at the moment, though, isn't it? Unfortunately, it's just the way it's all going.
Yeah, but I love the track here. We've spent a lot of time and effort over the last 3 years just lifting the track here. We widened it 3 years ago, dropped the pole line down, give it a heap more camber. Then we've just done the catch fence and the light upgrade too. So I think we've got one of the best tracks, especially on the east coast of Australia.
Yeah, I haven't been here for 15 years, so after everything that everyone's been saying, I'm keen to get out there.
We just got new track surface in, which is pretty good. It's probably the best surface we've ever had.
Yeah. What's the mixture of it?
It's just clay.
Just straight up clay.
Yeah, we're lucky to find some clay pretty close. So
yeah.
And probably it's the boys are busting their ass because it's bloody hot outside. Yeah. It's 40 degrees today, so they're trying to keep tipping water into it.
I don't envy any track curator anywhere in the world, eh?
It's probably the worst location to have a speedway in Mildura because it's so bloody hot in the summer. It just bakes it.
Yeah, I was actually talking about this with my wife the other day. With all the rainouts that have happened, because we've gone into our second La Nina or whatever it is, it's wetter summers. So it's surely the promoter's looking at next year and bringing the speedway season earlier or something like that. It seems
you're right. Mildura, it never rains here.
It seems like the wetter summers are going to be a thing for the next sort of couple of years.
What can you do? Just play it by ear and get on with it.
Yeah, I suppose we just go from one extreme to the other though. Yeah. That's what sucks. Is we go from this to rain or something. Right. I'm super keen to get out there and see it. To be honest, I actually don't even remember it. I remember going there, but I don't remember what it looks like.
It is pretty good now. I love racing at Mildura. It is just so wide and so fast now, and I think next year we should be having we got a decent 410 show this year as well, sprint car. So we're going to get a few more sprint car shows in Mildura, and I reckon next year we'll start pushing to have some bigger meetings too.
Yeah.
I reckon we should be right to have a big annual sprint car event in Mildura and just push for that.
Definitely. I think it's not too bad a location either, like Adelaide.
We're central for everywhere. Like we're kind of the most central track in Australia.
Yeah.
For like the guys over in WA, Queensland, like we're right in the middle.
Yeah. It's sometimes too, you just got to make the event happen, and then you got to just keep going at it. Like you can't, like if it doesn't work the first year, you can't just give up on it. Like you got to create it. It's like
and build it up. But like it'd probably take a few years to build it up. But
yeah. It's like the classic wasn't the classic like the first
when
one
it started. No,
50 years ago.
It was just now.
It was like I think it was a Sunday show, wasn't it? It was just a.
Oh really?
I think it was just started on a Sunday.
Oh.
Yeah. So and then like look at it now because they just persisted with it. Like that's what you got to do with it. So. Yeah, definitely.
But there's no reason why we couldn't do something like that in Mildura. Like, I think we've got the facilities in the track now. Like we've got the core, it's there now. So we just got to start promoting some big events.
Yeah, more than enough accommodation around here too.
Oh
thankfully.
yeah, there's heaps.
Some of the places you go to, and it's like there's 2 or 3 motels to choose from. It's
there's nothing worse.
Yeah, so at least the town's more than enough set up for it. So
we're more than capable of running big shows like that.
Yeah. Enough credit to them. Anyone who volunteers their time to a club or anything like that, credit to them because it's not.
Oh, the club out here has just done an awesome job. Just what they've accomplished with stuff all money, like just upgrading the facilities. Like it'd be great. I see some of the other clubs around Australia upgrading their tracks, and like man, credit to them. Like we just need to lift. The more clubs that lift the track, the profile, and the track service and the facilities, it's better for the sport as a whole.
Yeah.
It's only going to benefit everyone. So
yeah, that's right. We need to get back to that like family sort of type vibe. You see like a lot of just blokes at the Speedway with a few mates and stuff like that. There's not. You need to try and get the families.
Now we get a lot of families to spectators. Like it's I think it's changed a bit, especially like supercars. Like there's more and more families going to race events now. So.
Yeah, right.
So we just, as a sport, we need to jump on board and encourage that as well. But if you got the facilities there and families and kids,
such a hard thing when it's like a dusty, dirty, like it's just I don't know.
It doesn't have to be like that.
The diehards love it. I froth on it, and that's the hard thing is like talking to someone about it who's like they just can't comprehend going at all. Like,
it's not always like that though. Like.
Yeah.
Like there's especially pay-per-view now. Like you can sit at home and watch it on your TV at home. Like it's fantastic. Like like we can watch T-Bar from home. Like
how good is it?
Oh, I'm pissed off I didn't go actually. But I just couldn't this time of the year. But now I reckon I'm booking in next year. I'm going. I don't want to miss out again.
Yeah.
That track is. I've never raced at Toowoomba, but it's the one I've got to tick off.
Yeah, right.
I've just got to go there.
They're just smashing everything up there. Like it's just setting a bar so high, which is like what's going to happen.
Like the facilities and the way they run the meeting, and like Ryan Harris has put so much effort in, and you just watch it on TV and you look at the way they operate and run a meeting, and they're just at another level.
Why is Queensland such a stronghold of mod sedans?
I don't know. There's a lot of tracks up there, and like they're spread out from Queensland's such a big state. Like they're right up the top. Cairns, a lot of cars up there, and like all the way right down to Lismore. Like there's just a lot of cars spread out through the whole state. And saying that, like the Victorians go up there and serve it up to them still, like which is good. They come down. So I think we've got a few guys coming down from Queensland to the Vic title at Warrnambool. Then the next weekend we got the SA title at Mount Gambier. Then we're running the Murray Magic here at Mildura. So a lot of those guys will come, or quite a few of the guys will come down and do the 3 race meetings. Yeah,
that's sort of what you're going to. Yeah, you need them to come down for. They either come down for a big event or some multiple events.
Yeah, that's it. They can fit in 3 race meetings and three weekends. It's great. Yeah. And it's good to see those guys travel down and race here too.
Speaking of travelling, you going to Tassie to defend?
Yeah. Yeah, we booked the truck over on the boat, so we're heading over there.
Yeah. Is that a logistical nightmare?
What's that, sorry?
Like going to Tassie, logistically, is that like...
It's a bit of a nightmare, but... Because, like, we got the truck, the transporter, the trailer, and we booked it in. Like, it is a bit of a cost, but I don't know if it's going to be much different to going over to Perth, or Western Australia, really.
Yeah.
But it is a bit of a logistic nightmare. It is a cost getting everyone over there too, but it's what we love, it's what we do.
So have you raced over there before?
No, never raced in Tassie.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, should be good. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, I went to a track there, but it wasn't operating. I had to have a look, and then I've seen the racing over there, and yeah, the tracks look great over there.
Yeah, well, they haven't got many cars over there, but they get a good crowd there too, like to the speedways. No, I think they got a lot of super sedans.
Yeah, super sedans are huge down there.
Strong.
That's what's like sort of same with like Queensland. There's all these like little pockets that are like strongholds of different classes, isn't there? Like it's just, it's just.
I think it's good when you get to a national title. You get all those all the cars that you've never raced against, people you never heard of, and cars you've never seen, and they all get together, and it's pretty competitive.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's what I mean. It's like it's like a hidden gem of speedway for some reason. Like, not to the guys who are involved with it or know about it, but it's like as a sort of general like speedway thing in Australia, it's like a real it's not and
the quality of the racing, I reckon it's probably one of the best speedway classes in the country.
Yeah,
just for passing and how close the cars are, it's great. Racing's great. That's what I love about it. That's what I mean.
It's like we're on the same page. Like we're trying to like we know it, but it's like there's other people would be like, nah.
It's funny, there's been a bit of interest, especially like from speedway fans in America, and like you see some of the comments after like watching the national title, and they just can't believe it. Like
they'd have nothing like it.
No. Like, maybe street stocks, but they're a chassis car.
Yeah.
But nothing like quite like this.
Is that something you see mod sedans having to go to, is chassis cars in the near future? I think so.
That's the part of the modifieds are so good because you can get a road car and engineer it into a race car, and there is so many different types of cars. But that's now, I think it's probably going to be one of the downfalls of the class, because there is no one makes a 6-cylinder sedan anymore. You can't buy one. They've gone 4-cylinder turbos, and I don't think that's the way, because that's an extra cost in itself. I think the only way is to go to a chassis car with a crate engine, pretty much like super sedans are. I think almost if you did a modified sedan similar to a super sedan, just with obviously different, retain the same tyres and the wheels we're on now, but
and might be able to pick your own body.
Maybe keep the body shape so they still look like sedans. But I don't know. So I think Speedway Sedans Australia have got a bit of work ahead. They're onto it now. Like, they've got a new tech committee on board, and that's what they'll be.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate. It's not anyone's doing it. It's just the way that the road car market has gone.
But they got to set the class up for the next 10, 15, 20 years too. Yeah. And I think chassis car, the crate engine's the way to go. In the end, it'll be cheaper.
Yep.
Especially a lot of guys are spending big money on Falcon and like Barras and Commodore V6s. I probably got the cheapest race engine in the... one of the cheapest race engines, believe it or not.
Yeah, right.
Because we haven't really done a lot to it, but guys are spending, from what I heard, big bucks on engines. But
happens in every class, though.
Yeah, like if you can get a crate engine, like a crate V8 that's designed to do it for, I don't know what's a crate LS.
I think they're like 16. I think they're about 18 by the time you put all the bolt-ons onto them. So
it's probably a cheap way to go racing.
It's not
really.
Just got to control it. That's the biggest thing. Just keep like, it sounds weird to say in racing terms, but restrict it so that it doesn't get.
As soon as people start modifying stuff, it blows out. Cost blows out. Yeah. And then to keep up, you got to spend the money. If they can keep it controlled, keep costs down.
Yeah.
Then I know the numbers will grow.
With wingless, they let them go to 60,000 bore on the engines, which is then they're done after that. But there's nothing left on them, so they let them go to that in the first instance, and that's what's torched a lot of motors. Where if they maybe went to 40 and saved that at 60, there'd be a lot more motors available. But now they're starting to sort of dwindle down as well.
Yeah,
so it's
look at super sedans, like they go into a crate engine, and like the numbers are surging now. Like wouldn't be a bad class. Like they're onto it, I think.
Yeah,
I think they're on a winner.
I think it's I know it's a real like sticking point in sprint cars, but I think the crate LS is the way to go. Like, especially
that you get your 410s, then the one under, like with I think 360s have gone to the pro sprints.
Yeah,
and it makes it a lot more affordable for the guys.
Yeah, it might bring more people into it as well. Like
that's it. And a lot of the guys can't afford to run 410. Like, I'm not a sprint car guy, I don't know much about them, but I think running the crate engine is the way to go.
Yeah, I think we still need the 410s, and I don't think that'll ever go away, but I think we need that more affordable...
Entry level, you need an entry level sprint car class and like make it a bit more affordable.
Yeah. Like, you know, like not necessarily a B grade per se, but yeah, just that sort of like lower class of it, and
Yeah, or look at sedans, like we got street stocks, modifieds and super sedans.
Yeah.
We've got 3 runs of it.
And then Victoria just gets crazy with all the different stuff that goes on.
Yeah,
it gets confusing. Especially coming from SA, it gets confusing as I
don't think that's good for the sport. I think you're better off having your set classes rather than making another class and having ordinary numbers with another class just because you can't win in one class. We're better off having good fields in like the set classes, I think.
You must sound like you're getting swayed towards the super sedan here.
Almost. I'll put it past the missus, see what she thinks, but I don't know, I'd love to have a steer. But,
I'm sure someone
we'll see what happens.
I'm sure someone will let you have a steer.
Maybe.
Yeah. No, it'd be good to see the numbers come back on them, for sure.
Yeah. And they put on some good racing too.
Oh, definitely, yeah. Like we were saying before we started, like the Australian Super Sedan title at Murray Ridge, like that was cracker racing. Like, that was so good. Like, yeah.
Yeah, I love sedans.
Yeah. The late models never sort of really took off, did they? Like, it was...
There's a few around still, but I think over in Western Australia where the tracks suit the late models, they've got a lot bigger tracks, a lot wider.
Yeah.
Where I think this side of Australia on the East Coast, I think a lot of the tracks probably need to come up because the cars have evolved and a lot of the tracks haven't.
Yeah.
I know it's a sore point with some tracks, but like what we did at Mildura, like we're only 15 metres wide, and the way it was prepped back in the day, and like the guys were just limited to what we had as a racetrack. Then once we widened it, it just made the racing so much better, and you're pretty much gone from a 15 metre where really it was a single lane track sometimes to like 21 metres wide.
Yeah.
And you're running 3 cars wide, and like Mildura would be good for late models now. I reckon it'd be good to see them having a run. Even I think we got the Super Sedan Vic title here this year as well.
Yeah, right.
So that's gonna be good.
I was talking to a guy the other day, and he said like you see a lot of comments online about people talking about like speedway and like, you know, they don't run bikes and cars anymore and stuff like that. And he was saying like
the tracks are different though.
He said the cars are different too though. Like he said, you know, back in the day he was saying that he used to run a hot rod, and it'd be lucky if that thing had 200 horsepower or you know, maybe a touch over, and like all the cars were like that. And he's like, now streets have probably got more than 200 horsepower. Like, you know, like,
a lot of the tracks, especially this side of Australia, were designed for like they were running vintage hot rods and they were running on sand and crash of dust, and they weren't running race rubber. So like as the cars have evolved and got quicker, like the sprint cars have got a lot more power than what they had 30 years ago as well.
I think they got more power than they did 5 years ago.
But like the tracks have to evolve as well. Like there's a lot of tracks that have improved. Like you look at Toowoomba, what they've done in the last 20 years, they've evolved. We've done it in Mildura. Warrnambool's just widened the track. And they've got some issues we all know about, but they're trying to make the place better, and they've just widened the track. So that's going to make the racing a lot better there as well.
Yeah. So. Michael Parry actually made a really great point the other day when he was talking about Warrnambool. It's like sprint cars are making more power too, but you look at what's happened in the shock world, and now they're getting that power to the ground so much better than they were 5-10 years ago. And that's where, like, I'm guessing a lot of the track beating up has come from sprint cars, is that now they're really getting that power down, like compared to years gone by.
Yeah, they're saying that, but like before we done the track upgrade at Mildura like that 3 years ago, I was watching the racing from America, like watch heaps of like on YouTube and on their Dirt Vision, and like look at the track. Like obviously they've got some top level tracks and some lower ones out in the country. They
got some real low level ones over there.
Yeah. You look at the way they prep the track and how wide the track is, and they're running 3 wide and got a top groove and a bottom groove, and how just the quality of the racing. So like we did that here. Like we upgraded the track and copied a few tracks in America. So I think, I was saying that with the sprint cars, they're like America's doing it. We just got to follow their suit with the tracks. Like we're running the cars they got over there, so and we just got to start upgrading the tracks.
I know one of the sticking points a lot of guys have said, like, it's our start times here too.
Yeah.
Like, as I think too, like, it's such a hard thing. Our punters in Australia have come to Speedway forever, and they've watched 4, 5, 6 classes. Whereas guys in America, they go watch one sprint car class, and then they're done for the night. They're there for 3, 4 hours and they're gone. I think trying to get the Australian punters to come and pay their money at the gate to see 1, maybe 2 classes, it's going to take a very long time to break that mould.
They've done a bit of a podcast or something on Speedway Australia did this. Like you've got pretty much 3 or 4 hours entertainment time. Outside of that, people lose interest.
Yeah.
So I think you've got to start like 7 and run it no later than 11. Like people don't want to be there at 4 o'clock watching 6, 7 classes.
Yeah.
I think if you got like 2 or even 3 classes and put on quality show in that time, you're going to get a lot more people through the gate.
Yeah.
And America too, they got such a much bigger population than us.
Yeah, that's the other thing. It's like we always compare ourselves to them in stuff, and it's like in some regard we shouldn't, because there's just, it doesn't matter what it is over there. There's more people into it than here, regardless of what it is. Like, and the diehards too. The diehards are always going to rock up no matter what it is as well.
Yeah.
Like,
But saying like you got families on the hill, they only want to go there from 7, no later to 11. Like the A main's got to be finished at 11 o'clock. Otherwise, it's getting too late for kids. You got to put on a good show in that time and make it good value for money.
Yeah.
Otherwise, that's what you got to do to get the spectators in the gate.
Yeah. I think it's such a hard thing too. And the other thing that I can see happening is like putting these shows on of like classes. You've got to sort of put classes on that matching themselves in terms of like the rubber that they run and stuff too.
Yeah.
So you can probably see like maybe speedways will end up having to run more nights across the season, because if they cut the classes down, like everyone still deserves their race night and their time and stuff. Yeah. So it's like then the operating costs might go up on a track.
Like some clubs have to run, like they run a lot of classes just to get the money through the back gate, and that's how they survive and operate.
Yeah.
So, but you can still do that. Like we could still run like 5 or 6 classes here in a club show. The club will survive on the back gate, but you're probably not going to get the spectators you will on a sprint car night.
Yeah.
But if you want a lot of like decent crowd on a big sprint car night, you got to run it pretty tight ship, 4 hours max, put a good show on, and don't let it run too late.
Yeah. I was actually speaking to a guy, and he had the idea of like if he was to operate a venue, he'd run certain classes from like mid-afternoon on a Saturday, and then like they'd be gone by about 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, and then do a track prep, and then like sprint cars and speed cars and stuff like that could come. Like
if you got the climate to do it, but in Mildura, mate, we can't do it on a 40-degree day. Like it. That's why we've pushed the time back to 7 o'clock tonight, just because the sun just cooks the track. If you got like wingless and their mods going out, sealing the top over, it just cooks it. You're forever chasing it all night then. So. Yeah,
there's like a bit of horsepower there tonight. Like, you know, people probably don't sort of realise that in those 2 classes alone. Like, even the wingless, like they've got more horsepower than they did 5 years ago too.
Yeah,
like,
big tyres. They seal the track over and.
Yeah, I have a theory. No one's actually like called me out on it yet, so maybe I'm right. I have a theory with sprint cars. They have to run turndowns in Australia, so you can't tell me that all that heat coming out of the sprint cars isn't affecting the track.
Maybe. I don't know. I never thought of that. I think sprint cars too, they got so much air off the wing, and so you stand next to the track on a sprint car race and feel the wind near the fence. So all that air rushing over the track probably dries it out a bit too.
Yeah, it would have to.
Maybe.
Yeah. Another theory.
Yeah, that's it.
Love that.
But like the tracks are if they go black, but as long as they got a top and bottom groove and there's good passing still, that's what you want.
Yeah.
That's like T-Bar, like they run the sprint cars, like they let the middle go off, had the bottom and the top on, and there's some good racing.
Have you been keeping an eye on what's happening at Bordertown?
No, fill me in. How they going?
I think it's pretty close, but
I've seen photos, and that's.
I'd be very keen to see these there once that's.
They
that's
pretty much copied I-55. I think.
Yeah, I think it's like an exact replica of via GPS is what's been put into the machine. So, yeah, I think these would be cool as they're. I reckon.
Yeah.
No.
I love racing everywhere. As long as it's a good track, love it.
Heaps of banking.
Yeah.
They'd be they have to be the most banking. Well, I think it's be the most banking in Australia, full stop. But definitely for these sort of things.
Yeah, I know we got Mildura now. I went out with Plugger the other night, and he was prepping the track, and I jumped on the grader and just had a bit of a drive around because I've never driven a grader before. So I jumped on it, went mid-track, and it's got a little angle inclinometer or whatever they called on it. Mid-track, we were about 12 degrees. Then I went up the top, and it went off the chart.
Yeah, right.
So we got more than 15 degrees banking at Mildura up the top.
Yeah, right.
So I don't know what it is, but that's what you want, though. You want the bottom flat and progressively camber up more to the fence. Encourage guys to run the wall.
Yeah.
Or the whole track, pretty much. If you can get 3-4 wide racing, it's nothing better.
Yeah, that's right. Have you seen what they've done with Warrnambool, or do you think?
Yeah, I had a talk to Mick.
Yeah.
He called me when they were having the issues and just went through with him what we did at Mildura and had a sample of their track surface. Like, they got a few issues with their surface, and ultimately they got to dig it out and find some clay, and that's what they're doing now. But they I just talked to him about the camber on our track, and had a chat with him for quite a while, and that's when they ended up ripping the pole line out and widening the track up a bit. And I think it's helped quite a bit for him.
Yeah, the racing looked heaps better the other night from them. So.
And just getting the right camber, so the guys aren't encouraged to use the bottom, because like sprint cars, like they'll tip in, and like wherever there's a groove, that's where they'll run, whatever's quickest way. So if they can make the track quicker up the top or flat right through to the wall and encourage the guys to use all the track, it's probably a bit less stress on the track too. Doesn't go off in certain spots, but
yeah,
they've done it. I hope it works out well for them at the Classic, because I'll be watching it.
Yeah, I'll be there. So I think it'll be fine.
Yeah.
Well, at this point in time, the weather is it's 18 and 19 degrees, so it's a lot cooler.
Yeah,
so
that'll help them out a lot.
I think that'll help heaps too.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there'll be the regular sea mist or blowover or something like that. So
yeah, later in the night.
So should be good.
Yeah, that's the advantage they've got over us.
Yeah, especially here.
Yeah,
man, it's stinking.
Well, we're in the middle of a desert.
It is pretty close to a desert though. Isn't it? It's not. It's like a stone throw from it. So it's it's kind of understandable.
Yeah.
It's like what foreigners actually think Australia is almost out here.
Yeah, that's it.
But, yeah. So the Silver Bullet, eh? Do you actually know the story behind Mercedes Silver?
No.
I think
sounds like you're going to tell me. Anyway.
Oh, well, I could be wrong, but I think it was back in the early days of Formula One. The cars were white.
All aluminium?
I think they were white. Yeah, but the cars were really heavy, so they scraped the paint off.
Oh, right.
And then the aluminium came through, and that's where the silver came from. Yeah.
We've had a few colour changes on this. We started off white, then we went black for last year, but
I think the silver's the best.
Didn't do it justice. I think the Silver Arrow was the best.
Yeah, I think the silver's definitely the best.
Mercedes Silver.
Yeah.
Kind of suits the car too, so.
Yeah, I have a thing for silver cars though. But they can look clean and not be clean. That's what I like about them. It's street cars anyway. So.
Yeah, till after you start off the back in the first heat and it comes back brown, but you get that. That's why it's best to start off the front in the first heat. Isn't that right, Luke? You don't have to scrape the mud off it.
All right, man. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks for that.
Hopefully give some people some insight into mod sedans. And
yeah,
bother with it. Hopefully people come and check it out if they see it at the track or something like that. And
Yep. Yeah, by all means, come check it out. It's funny, like, when we get at the track, and even after the race meeting, so many people come and check the car out because no one's ever seen a Mercedes Speedway car before. So
yeah, it's different.
Yeah, by all means, come check it out. That's what it's about.
All right, man.
Yeah,
Thanks for your time,
easy
especially
done.
on race day. I know, I know you're probably itching to load this up and get out there.
See how we go tonight. Should be a good race night.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it.
I'll see you out there.
Yeah, easy done. Thanks
Cheers,
for
man.
that.
Thank you. That was good, man.